Yeah, what's up, guys? Logan, how you doing, man?
Hey, man.
Good, cheers, bro.
I'm good. Let's get a cheers. Oh,
I got a pineapple.
Well,
what a night. So, what's been happening, bro? How you doing?
Well,
Just came back from London as well.
just came back from London,
All
so
that hectic stuff happened.
so much hectic stuff. It's been happening since that hectic stuff. A lot of time, just a lot of spare time, you know, which is like a blessing when you're busy and then you're not, and you get to think, do I want to stay
That's the
busy?
best day.
Yeah. Or like, what do I want to be busy with next? So lots of time thinking about what moves me, what matters, and yeah. Then actually, I've gotten a chance to start doing some of that already because I'm with some creative people already. So
I've seen. Please tell me.
just
Please tell me.
like we're in the process of setting all our visuals and our branding and everything, but with the people I live with and stuff, yeah, it's cool. Graphic design coming through. We're making a creative collective. We're going to call it Suburban Creative Collective officially, but that's coming up soon, and it's really just a place and a way for us to either make stuff within ourselves or to like reach out to other people and be like, what do you want to do? Or like, I see your idea, let's help you with it, and stuff like that. So learning visuals, learning editing, learning choreography, how to choreograph, how to make people get their ideas out, or maybe how to make them like freestyle better or with the right message or anything like that. So we're just testing out with each other, like, hey man, do you have this idea? Or like, what are you thinking? Let's like run this song. Let's get you, where do you want to be? Like asking that sort of things and just making those videos happen. So that's something that's
I've seen, because in your projects, and you posted in one of them, you were saying, I'm happy to find these people that have made my vision fulfilled, or something along those lines.
yeah.
People. So suburban, hey? This is one of the guys?
Suburban. This is Cardin. It's actually his birthday today.
He's a sick dude. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday to Cardin.
He's a sick dude.
Yeah.
One of the other guys, Matt, made these t-shirts for us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it? Like, what's the story behind this photo?
Look, I think he just pulled a funny face and we like that. Because
That's a funny face, man.
he's just there like,
He looks cross-eyed almost.
oh damn, why you gotta come for him like that? Yeah, no, I think the most important thing that we've done since we've been back, especially just by myself and with this creative we have, is our live stream show. We did one from home.
Yeah.
We choreographed a whole thing. It ended up being really special because I just asked them in the group chat when I was in like the airport. I was like, oh guys, I'm coming back home. Like, oh, just as a joke in quarantine, let's just put some shit up on Instagram. And it turned out to be really deep, like in a good way. It basically ended up being like stories of isolation and tales of lockdown and stuff like that. Yeah, so there was some like, I'm happy being alone moments. And there's some like, oh God, don't leave me alone with my thoughts moments. And it all threaded together really nicely. And that took a good month of our time, you know, setting it and brainstorming it, and
That's awesome, man.
yeah, and we just did it, and I'm just so proud that we said, hey, let's do this, and we actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it
that's
too.
right.
Having
And I was actually thinking when I did watch it, I was like, yo, next time you have a house inspection, you could just make that video, because you literally showed your whole house.
yeah, we did so much promo as well.
House. The house is as clean as my moves, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we got that. That was a very last minute thing. I was like, oh, we need to just like show all of us all in one video, because we had the separate ones that I was releasing as promo under each people with the poster that Cardin designed, and each person had like a minute or so in a particular room around the house, and I was like, hey, let's just do like a run through, because I remember we were talking about it last year, like in the house that we were in together.
Yeah, we did.
And it was like, we could do something like that, just a house tour. And
you did it. You did it with the right people, man.
yeah, hey, just people that are down to drop what they're doing and follow me on a whim. That if you say that's the right people, then cool.
What was it like? Hey, my question though, what was it like living with breakers though?
Living with breakers.
This guy lived with me for like a year.
Woo. No, you guys taught me a lot, and not just like breaking, like in terms of like just the work, the energy, the focus you guys have. It was crazy. Like the consistency with b-boys is the strongest thing. Like I think you guys are always trying to get at least a 20-minute session at any given time. At least that's what you guys felt like to me. Like especially you, man. You were like, oh, I'm going to work in an hour, so I'm going to train for 45 minutes. Like like that energy. Yeah.
Hectic.
You like that? Yeah.
I never do it. It's too risky because then I'd be time when I go to work.
Too risky. I agree.
I'm tired at work than fucking.
No, the drive that you guys have was pretty crazy for me to see, and like, you know, I'm busy, I get around a lot, but I think you guys had like that focus and commitment to that one single thing of breaking.
Focus, yeah.
Yeah, that was really inspiring.
I feel that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of Perth dancers have all that too, though. Like, you got a lot of heavy hitters in your Corrie scene.
Corrie scene,
Oh,
yeah.
is that what you call it? Please, I want to hear what you say about that.
Oh, okay. It's that's a can of worms. Okay.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
There's a lot of contradiction going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to know your input on that. Like, what do you think, man? Because you were just saying before, like off camera,
Wait.
you guys. Oh.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We'll go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, off camera.
Yeah. What are you guys gonna call each other? You're just gonna start calling each other Corey, choreographers, or are you still gonna stick with urban? But like, we want to know from an actual Corey dancer. What's going on, man? Because yeah, we don't. We yeah.
It's really important, yeah, because we have to think where it started, which is in the breaking, the hip hop elements of like New York,
Yeah.
and those areas, and what it was at that time was what freestyle, free movement, and then as it develops, people start giving names, giving meaning. It would have taken a bit of time for it to be identified as a break dancer or a b-boy or a break beat even. Like, it takes a while for these names to sort of sift through. And, you know, in the history books it says like on this day sort of thing, it's been named as such. But, and we have actually had a day like that for, you know, us in the choreography world where we used to be called urban. There was a day where it was like, or a meeting or a decision where it said, yeah, we can call it urban. So if you're going back, like, it was freestyle. So the hip hop dancers and the b-boys, b-girls were freestyling. They'd make their sets up and such, and they'd make their combos, but a lot of what they threw down on the floor, in the street, in the club would be free. So when you start putting choreography on, like the sequence of moves, I've noticed it across every sort of foundation style that steps into choreography is that it loses a bit of that like rawness that, like when we said, you know, when we did the shows for Percy Breakers last year, and it was very much like easily approachable moves instead of what you see the fire popping off in the round of like any of you guys individually would just go nuts on a track, and then we're up there doing the easiness, a little bit for our sake, a little bit for the crowd's sake of the memory and like the ease of viewing and stuff, but still that's the authentic, I guess, choreographic representation of breaking or of hip hop. What happens these days is people seem to train in a few different varieties of styles, and that can go like cross genre, that can go into contemporary or jazz, or even like tap can cross over with something else, you know? So people are getting all these things mixed up and like just dancing to music that they like, right? Like if you're dancing to Tory Lanez and you're doing breaking, is that still breaking? Because the moves?
I think so.
Cool, because of the moves. All right then. So then if we're trying to call it off the moves, but what you're moving is just this whole mix up, it's a bit hard to say like, that's hip hop, that's urban, that's this, that's that. It's tricky, but like for my sake and what I try to share with the people around me, I say that choreography is like creative output, and it's inspired by what you've learned first. So when I've taken time to learn hip hop, or when I've taken time to learn contemporary, that's what's my input, and then whatever comes out to whatever song is the output. and that just means it is choreography or my choreography.
Yeah.
But that doesn't limit me to being only a choreographer or a choreography dancer. So and then you take a step back again and say it's just dance, and one of them's free and one of them's sequenced. It's a bit vague, but knowing that labels are there for identification kind of makes it all right, because then you're just replacing, in choreography, you're just replacing the genre name with the person's name. Right, my artistry, what I put into the stories in my dancing and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's really roundabout, and it doesn't really answer the question in that sense. We don't have a replacement name yet.
That's the thing.
We don't have a replacement name.
Moving forward from that, but
and there's a lot of discussion from like very respectable people, the people that lead the choreography and the creative scene in that sense, the Kinjers, Kearney, a whole band of people, Tony Saar, who has probably like the most foundation in so many different ways of any human or dancer or person that I've met or seen or witnessed. Like, he'll know all the footwork styles of the States, and then you'll see him bust into like locking and waving, and you'll just be like, great, like this man knows everything. So yeah, it's tricky.
What's the talk on the block? What's our options?
Okay, well, for the sake of it though, like we also need to cover that the reason that has been removed is because of the Black Lives Matter movement. And the Black Lives Matter movement is attached to urban as it is attached to hip hop, because it's majority their culture, like mixed up with the Latino and the people in New York at that time. So we can't say that anymore, because when urban sort of like initially means like of the city and of the areas around the city, it sort of became a targeted word for those more like less gentrified and more ghetto and more like street. So where the hip hop came from, like where that is what urban sort of became. It became this like target and label for people that lived in those areas. So then that's why, you know, a lot of the black people living in that then urban area became offensive. So we can't say that, but it's represented in the music as well. The Grammys have said no, we can't say urban music, so they've gone quite specifically into like genre. Yeah, and that's another reason. Like I saw that post on like my Instagram feed, and I was like, oh, we can't call it urban music anymore. So like, what is Drake? What is, you know, Pop Smoke? What is like Georgia Smith? Like, are they singer / rappers? Are they this? Are they that? Suburban, yeah, bro.
I mean,
yeah.
hey, did you come up with that name? You already did your research, man.
Sidetrack. I'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But like the replacement of the name urban, we don't have a clear thing yet, and like this is just my personal vote, is honestly just being like the styles that I've learned, just like like if do you know Madlib, the producer? Yeah, like what would you define his style as in one word? Yeah, exactly. You can't. Madlib. You'd say his name, but like when you get like a lot of options, you can say like jazz / funk / alternative / like you kind of add on these extra things that encompass Madlib, even though Madlib is more than just the sum of those parts. So I think urban was this umbrella term for like, yes, we draw from popping elements and house elements and like the classic let's do 2 counts of 8 of top rock in everyone's hip hop choreography. So we draw from those elements, but I guess in a sense like what used to be labeled as the urban scene was a little bit more like we added other elements, we incorporated things like that. Again, no direct answer, but I'd like to just sort of say, hey, I am this person that choreographs, and I learned a lot of waving, and I learned a lot of like floor work from breaking, and that's my choreography. Like that would be the most clear and the most respectable answer across the board.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, it doesn't fit on poster, but you know, it's right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear everyone's opinion on that too. Like
Yeah.
all the other choreo dancers, but I definitely not like. I live with you, man, and you do your research. You grew up in a studio too, and like so, like you know what you're doing as well.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I've got the placement, the technical style. I spent some time at WAPA. We were writing essays on the history of contemporary and ballet and stuff like that. And it made me just appreciate, when I stepped into the hip hop world, what came before, so that I know what I'm doing now more thoroughly, more respectfully. And that is kind of where the name of our group, Suburban, came in, because we all lived in like inner city suburbs. Like, none of us were that far out. None of us were in the city itself. None of us were out in like fucking Mandurah or anything. So we kind of felt like we were in the suburbs. And while we like knew and acknowledged and researched and respected hip hop and where it came from and stuff, we are, you know, low or middle class people in Australia, as far from where the culture originated from as possible. And while it's a global movement, we're guests in it still. As much as we learn, as much as we know, improve and say and communicate, we're still guests. So while urban existed as a peaceful term amongst dancers, I thought, hey, like, just as a joke, we're sort of below that. We're not in that crowd. We're like below that, and we're guesting in there. So we're sub-urban. But now urban doesn't exist, so it's a bit tricky. But I like that we represent the city and the suburbs and stuff like that.
Suburban's pretty smart.
Yeah. It's safe so far. And we actually had a conversation. We said, hey, can we still use this now that...
Isn't suburban just the upper class of urban?
Is it?
I'm convinced that's the definition of it. Like,
because that's the thing. You're looking on Google definitions, Google Dictionary. The first definition of urban is like just of the city. The second definition is, you know, of black movement, of black culture. And yeah, it's a bit tricky like that, hey. I don't make the rules, I just try and follow them, and I just try and keep the peace with those around me. Hey, like, yeah, I'm checking people though, like, if I see you with urban on your anywhere, or if you're saying you're doing hip hop and I don't see a down groove, I'm gonna come at you, and that's
you hear that? Come at you, man.
Keeping the honesty, keeping the respect. Like, I don't want anybody doing something that they're not, or saying they're doing something that they're not. I've always been about that. You know, I've been about that research and about that truth. And it's a hot take, but you know, you got to stand by. You got to have people sort of establishing the boundaries of what you can and can't do.
Nice, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pack that well. What do you think about the Perth scene as well? The old Corey scene. How do you think they're going? Like, do you think they're as connected and united as they are, and they should be, or do you also think they should be more involved in the other styles as well, to make a bigger community? What's your thoughts on that?
I like this question. I talk about it often.
Yeah.
I'll go at it in a few parts, I think. The first part you mentioned of like how I view the choreographers and the dancers that follow them in the bubble of Perth.
Yeah.
I think, and this is from spending time, you know, on holidays in other countries and speaking with dancers in like Singapore and Japan, and also like living in London for a long time. I've got like comparisons and perspective to speak back on Perth, where I've spent obviously the longest time, like I grew up here, and like spent the longest time in the scene and jumped to different pockets as well to learn authentically.
That's why I want to hear you.
Yeah. No, it's a great question, and I actually feel quite equipped to speak on it holistically. And I think the biggest comparison I'll be making is to London, because when you live in a community, it's different to being sort of the temporary highlight. Like when you travel and you're there for a week or two, and I was like, hey, like new guy, come through. Like they show you sort of the best side of things. But then when you're there for an extended time, 3, 6, 8, 10 months, you kind of get, and I'm sure you might feel it from Brazil as well, you get a better clue.
Nah, bro, the first 3 days, bro, I got beat up in an alley.
Authentic.
I got exposed pretty quick.
Damn. I honestly think we in the Perth scene doubt ourselves a lot. And I don't know why, but maybe it's because we feel disconnected from the rest of the scene in Australia, which is really ironic because I think we're the strongest interconnected within the scene itself. And that's especially true from just even the stuff I've seen since I've been back. I've seen Freedom Fam do the rally, and there was people from every single possible camp there. And Una from Society has done a video project with a lot of crews that would not work together a year or two ago. It's actually been really cool just in the past month to see new people from new areas just sort of let their walls down and get along instead of being so competitive. And I think that might be a byproduct of like the lockdown and everything being cancelled. But within, I think it's the friendliest and the most like cooperative and the most collaborative I think it's ever been. And that's such a good thing because each person that's sort of finding their way or pioneering in our choreography scene is that they're all very unique and they're all very, like they can do things on their own, and now that they're also willing to work together, it's just magic. Like a lot of cool things are happening. Like I'm teaching this week with Sayolan, who's a new choreographer coming up, and he's like real good, real easy to work with, and it's just like people are just willing now to get along and get together, which makes a really big difference in the community.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting because it felt a lot colder a couple of years ago.
It did, man. Like that's real.
Yeah, and
like, oh sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
But like, yeah, bro, I need this to happen. I need people to connect with each other, or else nothing's gonna happen. Nothing productive is gonna get done.
Yep.
If we just stay in our own box.
Yep.
And I feel like I've been doing that just until recently.
Yeah, I've seen you I've seen you take some choreo classes, right?
Oh, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Those are like
but I've still seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy took Afro the other week.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna be there.
Right.
Yeah, Afro's so much fun.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was so fun, man. I'm gonna go back.
Yeah.
Man, you'll make me look silly, but yeah, let's go.
But
nah, it's so fun, man.
It's like that new venture, that new connection, that new excitement.
Yeah.
And that's comparing as well back to London. I think while there's a lot of different, like what we have in the whole community in Perth feels like what kind of exists just like around like one train station in London in terms of popularity and diversity. And like you'll go West London and there'll be the same thing as Perth. You go East London, there'll be 3 times what Perth has. You go South and there's like huge amounts of small groups of people, but they're all really scattered. They don't really necessarily link up like that. And I was looking through my travel log of like what I was doing in London recently, and there was like an exhibit in the Science Museum about like individuality and connectivity and like sort of relating it to your brain and back. And there's this one line that I wrote down on my phone and then wrote down later in my journal, and just keeps coming back, and it says there's like, I'm paraphrasing, there's so many neurons in the brain, but if there's 1 million or if there's 10, it won't matter unless they cross over and they stick together and they work the pathways. So without like, and there could be 10 people in a scene, there could be 3 b-boys, there could be 1 house dancer. If you get together and push it up, it will gain traction, it will spread, there'll be a new connection, new there, which is where this collaboration and this connectivity that I'm seeing, even online and in person, is so great. So that's just like the choreographer thing in just our community.
Seeing a lot of choreos.
But then there's the freestyle over here, or the foundation over here, and the choreography over here, and there's this little intersect. Where the people that do both get along. I really just want to slap it together.
How do you think you can kind of slap together? What do you think like are some ways to get that to actually, like, do you have any ideas?
It's
like events or something that could actually work.
Oh, events.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me personally, I was actually thinking of like a Fringe World event where this was just something I was brainstorming.
Applications opening up again soon.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. Of like actually having every style, like doing a battle, like a, yeah.
Yep.
Like everything.
Fantastic.
As a, do you have any ideas? Like any brainstorms? This is great.
The rude boy in me says, tell me your favorite dancer and I'll tell you all the foundation that they've trained. That's the rude boy in me. I'll come at people individually and be like, oh, you like Ving? Yeah, he pops. Yeah, go learn popping if you want to dance like Ving. Like, oh, you want to dance like Diana Matos? Okay, go study dancehall, go study Afro, go study house. Oh, you want to dance like Bam? Okay, go crump, go take house classes. These are like, for choreography, people in that scene, like, these are people that we rate and we respect and we look at them and they're so talented and creative and amazing, but from observation and from conversation, you can see through and see where they draw from, which then comes back to what I was saying of, I'm a choreographer that has trained in this and trained in that. And it sort of comes to the forefront. So people get very excited and they go, oh my God, have you seen like this person, Candace Brown's new set, or like Amari, like, whoa, this is crazy. And then you go and get to take that class and they say, sometimes they'll say, yeah, this is a move from dancehall. Don't just hit it this way, like hit it the way that's expected of that particular foundation. So that's like the meanie in me. That's like, just shush, like, watch and learn and go do what you like. Like, that's the meanie in me that's not necessarily trying to facilitate a pleasant environment. Right. But if I were, and I want to, is education and awareness. So like I can use my platform in the choreography worlds in Perth, at least, to actually spend a bit more time than usual on those foundations and those possible references. The latest video I dropped with Cardin, it's very hip hop inspired to that Denzel Curry track, and I actually taught that in an open class, and we spent a good 30 minutes of the class doing like.
I thought that was freestyle.
Oh, the first bit of that video was freestyle, and the second bit, at the train station. The second bit was choreographed, and that's almost how I ran the class. Like I spent maybe 30 minutes doing like isolation and body breakdowns and groove play, and then put that into a quick fire, like freestyle, like, okay, you go for 2 counts of 8, bam, 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 my turn, bam, 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 quick fire rounds of freestyle, and then switch partners, we go, bam, 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 bam. So they had to take that true hip hop essence and foundation of feeling, apply it really quickly, and then hold on to that into the choreography. And I think it worked really well, just from my end, that people danced it a lot more differently than if I just went 6, 7, 8, 1, hit that, okay, blah, blah, blah. So coming from the educator's perspective, where once we learn and we can translate to people in the way that they're comfortable with, you can sort of crossfade into just being that hip hop or that, you know, whatever your foundation style is. You can bring them out of just like dancing choreography and not necessarily knowing how to comfortably express themselves in a style. You can sort of blend into that. The other part is just having more and more things happening. Like we were saying, more classes, more jams, more battles, more events. Definitely just putting all of that in. And hopefully whoever runs events, people don't forget to turn up. Having a crossover, like trying to get the choreography dancers and the freestyle dancers in the same room.
Yeah, that's what.
Pleasantly, I don't know. It's a tough one.
True.
It's a tough one.
It's exciting to see what's going to happen though, because like, you know, that you can see the bandwagons moving and people are going to start jumping on.
Yeah.
You know, that's how.
But hey, who's pushing the bandwagon? You know, respect to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly.
There's got to be somebody
there will be respect to them.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, if they're consistent, if we're consistent.
Yeah.
Interconnectivity.
Pushing the bandwagon for interconnectivity. Yeah. Like, so what people are jumping on the bandwagon. I used to be really like, oh, people are doing it to be popular, to fit in. Nah, I'm happy. Like, the more people involved, the better, you know? If there is a bandwagon rolling, feel free, hop on. Like, I'll push. Let's go. You want to push too? No, all right. Like, I'm still gonna push it.
Okay.
That's how I'm feeling. Yeah,
right,
you gotta take the edge off getting people involved. I think, and I've been on this end too. I've been on the end of like venom and preaching, and you need to learn your foundation if you're gonna put it in your car. Yes, you do, but I'm not gonna start yelling at people anymore. Like that clearly doesn't work, and it happens in every scene. There's always that sort of loud, preachy person that just sort of says like, you know, why'd you do a knee drop if you're not a b-boy? Like, and it's fair, but like take the venom out and just sort of go like, please don't do that. Or please come and learn from us so you can do it better and you can share the world better, you know? It's the ethos of hip hop, like each one teach one, and like knowledge and unity and connectivity, instead of just like picking fights and throwing call outs. Unless you get to battle and you get a productive like return out of it. Because like I am not done. I'm not gonna stop at Ahang. I'm gonna try and battle as many people as I can.
Let's talk about that. I'm gonna get a beer.
Yeah.
Go on.
Battling Ahang. Yeah, dude. Like, hey, this came up as it honestly was very like.
Please tell me what happened about that.
Peaceful on all sides, joyful on all sides. It's. I don't know how well people follow the social media side of it, but yeah, all that came up was like I saw Isabella Boladeras about from. She also teaches at Alpha, so like I think it's a really strong thing that the teachers in the same faculty like lift each other up, and basically like she said like, oh, this is Ah Hong, he's like the best, like come to his class, he's the best, and I was like, yes, love that, like supporting your people. And like honestly, he's such a good dancer, such a good like knowledge base of hip hop. And I just screenshot it and sent it to him as a joke, and it was like, oh yeah, like let's battle, like just coming out, like, cause I love to battle. I haven't had that energy in a long time because of the lockdown and stuff. And like you can jam at home, it's a different energy than that connection, that communication, right?
You need to expose yourself.
And it feels so good once you get past that fear barrier. So yeah, I just sent it to him and I was like, haha, this is funny, but also let's battle. Like I want to see how I match up against this like
sick,
this guy of hip hop, you know. So I just sent that to him and he said, let's do it. You free next Wednesday? I said, hell yeah. And then like it just caught up and took off, and he posted straight away. How many rounds? Until one of us wins.
Okay.
So how long is that gonna take? Might be one round.
Oh!
No.
20 minutes.
That'd be fun.
So what I'm hearing is that you have a hit list, eh?
I got a hit list.
Ooh,
Oh, you want to share?
really?
I got a hit list. Isaac's definitely on it.
Oh, I'm on your hit list.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I want to battle you.
sick.
I want to battle Keenan again. Like last time we battled, he said he wasn't feeling that good, and I felt like I got a free round off him, and it
Bro,
just
you're
bummed
gonna-
me out.
Keenan ain't be training. You're gonna smoke him next time. You like Keenan?
Honestly, I want
Get your
to.
ass into gear.
I want to step to a lot of the b-boys. Honestly, like
yeah.
y'all just have that really authentic
I love
battle.
that about you, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not afraid to
list.
expose yourself to
Sick, man.
vulnerability,
Yeah.
man. That's sick.
I would not even attempt to step to you guys in breaking, as little or as much as I tried to train that with you guys. I don't feel comfortable in that. I would
But
just.
in an all-style battle.
I'd represent myself. Yeah. And when I step into all style, I think it's different to when I step into hip hop, because I'll be drawing from little pockets of like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything you know.
Let's hit a floor threading section for like a bar, you know. But then if I got like face to face with Dari, he would just eat that up and just rip me apart with his answer back of threads, you know. So you got to be smart in especially in all style battle. But yeah, hip hop would be my strongest if I had to lock into one style only. It's where I think I spent the most hours in class and the most hours at home just working on. So yeah. And saying that, I want to also call out Big Will.
Ooh,
Yeah.
dude, that would be a fresh battle, man. I'd love to
Because
see that.
I think we have two real different approaches to hip hop. Like he's really in that traditional like vocabulary based and like energy based, and I'm getting a bit more into the elements of free movement that come with hip hop as well. So just seeing how that pairs would be really nice. I want to battle Mike, Popping Mike as well.
Oh,
because he kicked me
guy
out. He kicked me out of an all-star round last year, so I wanna see what happens again.
Really
What happened? Wait, what?
No, like
Oh,
he
you battled him.
just did really well. Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Definitely Renee. She's fun to battle. Like, oh man, let's go for anybody. Like,
Yeah, it's fun.
and if anyone wants to call me out, come at me.
Yeah,
Like,
go
I'll take
on.
it.
Yeah.
I'll make time for you, and we'll hug it out after.
Sick dude.
Yeah.
I respect
Yeah.
that, man. That's sick, man.
You're trying to battle anyone in the
That's
choreography scene?
Oh, that's a fun one. How do you battle a choreographer? Because if it's in freestyle, that's a bit unfair unless they also train freestyle as well.
Don't choreographers do train freestyle?
Not in the battle sense. They're two fully different
Yeah, I
mindsets. Like, I think a lot of what we do is like when maybe we're picking a song to choreograph to, we'll sort of like like very lightly, you know, when you're about to draw like a face, you'll like sort of sketch that little circle and sort of sketch where like you might put their eyeline or something.
I've seen you do that when I used to live with you.
Yeah,
You
we
try to
just
make
sort
a
of float vaguely through a song and think like, boom, boom, okay, that would work. Ooh, okay.
When he says skip, I'm gonna go skip.
Yeah, things like that. So I think that's the main way that we use our freestyle, more of like a draft or like a quick pass, yeah, like a storyboard almost, instead of like hitting the meat or the...
You're feeling it.
Yeah. We're not like right in the, I don't know, either like aesthetic or technical or very feel good moment. Because I think they're important elements to take in a freestyle, even in a battle. Like you can tell, you can watch someone who's just like forgetting to look cool and just having the best time, and that can like really elevate their round. People that are just like in it for the fun of it. Amidst whatever chaos they just like rip out against someone else. Generalizing, no. Many of the choreographers would just use freestyle as like an emotional feel, and then also like a draft. There are those of us that train it to get more than just a feeling out of it, to train to look like, I don't know, good for a minute on Instagram. That's me definitely going for the clout. Or for like a battle's sake. They're just different processes. Yeah. If you ask a lot of people, maybe that are also just learning choreography without actually choreographing themselves, if you ask them to do a round of house, they wouldn't be able to. If you ask them to do a round of hip hop, they wouldn't be able to, unless that's something they've given attention to. Because it's a totally different skill set to the attention they've given on executing choreography. Okay. Yeah.
Besides you, who's the best choreographer? Call them out.
What do you mean besides me?
I mean, like, because I'm expecting you. I was gonna say who's the best choreographer, and you would probably say me.
No.
Okay. Oh, cool.
No.
That's cool.
It's totally subjective. It's really subjective, and I think even the times where I like meticulously craft out a piece, and then it runs, and it's just not received that well. Like, even though I've put like so many hours into making it and so much thought into the concept and the delivery and who else is in it with me and all this sort of stuff, and it just kind of goes on the end.
Wow, that's how I feel when I do footwork.
When you like try, and then you're just like, and then, you know, the one where you just hitting a vibe with like a lot of like simple feel good stuff, that can be received really well. So it's subjective, and I don't know, there's also an element of imposter syndrome, you know. We can be so good in other people's eyes, but we sort of go, oh, no, not yet, this isn't it yet, I'm not that good yet. So I wouldn't, best. I'd say there's like best in elements, you know, like there's, like diversity. She can carry like vibes so well when she's, no matter what song she's really working on.
You guys work a lot together.
Yeah, like just like-minded people, you know, you find your people that you can always talk to, or like, you know, sometimes we meet up like every week or so, and like sometimes we're just sitting and talking because we're just like, can't dance right now. Sometimes we do house sessions together. We're trying to train up our foundation, and every couple of weeks we put out a piece. We just put out one in Fremantle. We were jamming a little bit before it.
Nice spot.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes?
Busta Rhymes.
Ooh,
it's a classic.
Nice
it's a classic.
You guys always do nice songs together. I noticed that.
Man, we like our music. No, best choreographer, that's a really loaded question, and sorry, I can't give you a direct answer, but like, yeah, there's people that are better at different elements. Like if I was like, are you good at footwork? And you'd be like, not really, like, but this person is. Like, that could be a way to answer that question.
That's all right.
Who's up right now? Like, who's up right now?
Una.
Una's been up. She's been up for the longest time. She goes through all these phases. Right now she's in a really like...
We've been trying to get her on here.
Oh man, I can't wait. She's got a lot to say, a lot of good things to say. She's in a very research-based choreography phase, like as in researching on the movement and the culture. So
Thank
awesome.
goodness.
yeah, and that's her impact, like, because she's been a figurehead for a long time, and a lot of people follow her, not necessarily just in her company or team or whatever you want to call it, but to learn from her in an open session or online or across the world, seeing her take the time to research. Even we were sharing links on or names on like who to look for to understand house better as well. So she's another one that's sort of, and her choreography is shifting that way. It used to be very visual of the lines that would work in like a competition sense. So like, let's craft a piece that looks effective and ticks the boxes on a certain competition formula. So that was her choreography for a while, and then after that it became very like emotional and intuitive and very flowy, drawing from maybe what she practiced earlier in her life. And now it's very like hip hop, party, celebration, good energy, good vibes, and like easy to learn but hard to master. I think that's where her choreography is right now, just from what I've been seeing. I haven't been to a lot of her classes recently. I've been real tied up creating or napping or something. Yeah, then like Alexa is crazy just in like the emotion you feel behind her movements. Very fluid, very wavy, a lot of strong tension and texture and stuff. So
Alexa is the short homegirl with the black hair, brown hair.
Yeah.
She has like brown hair and like blue eyes.
In Society?
Or something.
Yeah, she's in Society. Very
you may have seen her at
Public
a
health
event.
Right.
Yeah, she turns up to those events, and
She shows up.
shout out to that. She shows up.
And how old is she? She's like,
I think she's 20 or 21. Yeah.
what, really? Dude, I thought she was like 17.
Nah, I'm not that young. I'm trying to think. A lot of the people actually there's like a new gen coming up, at least in Society, but a lot of us are at least 20 right now in the choreography area. Yeah.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
Young scene. You got a strong scene, man, in the chorus.
We got a strong scene, and the longer it goes on, the better. Yeah.
A lot of people.
And then you've got
Bodies.
yeah, people on the come up. Like, there's a lot of people moving to R&B right now. I mean, Kentaro has been set that way for a long time. He's like got the coolest like stage or like almost backup dancer, but in a good way, like Justin Timberlake's backup dancers, not like step click backup dance, like very like aesthetic, very clean and powerful, and like you can just get it and be like, yes, that was stunning. Like Kenny's great at that. So like that's where like Kenny would edge me out in choreography on that end of just that like clean, strong, performative, like just powerful movement. Like he's definitely ahead of me in that. And Alexa's ahead in like the flow and the like there's this element of performance and like presence that some people have when they make a piece and when they perform it that just sets them apart, regardless of how complex or how crazy their piece is. So it's difficult. It's like, who would you say is the best battler? It's difficult.
Me.
There's your battle energy, right? Yeah.
What other projects you got coming up, man?
Projects, all right.
You are working on a lot of stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. Well,
you are always putting stuff out too.
I'm always putting stuff out, man. Like I just find so much music that I want to move to, or even like quotes in books, or like a feeling or a conversation makes me just sort of want to speak on a topic. I've got this it's honestly really quite shitty, but I've got this like draft project series that I've been working on, where like I just take my GoPro down, like there's no budget involved, it's just me, my speaker, my GoPro, and I'm trying to just sort of make like a minute or two of like a narrative rather than like, here's me freestyling, yay, you've seen a lot of this already. Like, I'm trying to sort of build a shot sequence or a plan all by myself, like no videographer. Yeah, and there's a concept behind it that I'm going to keep a secret until it drops, because I don't want to just sort of get people's expectations up. But yeah, there's that. That's a 6 video series, and I've done 4 of them.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and I've really been procrastinating the last 2. But there's that. I want to go run off into like a real forest wooded area and get like a lot of aesthetic and overlaying sort of things, rather than like, let's dance. I want to make more of just a visual. I wrote a note in my phone. I want to voice note a lot of what you've done of your training sessions.
Oh, really?
Like that, and that sort of thing of
Cool.
video content and then like speech and subtitles and stuff like that all together in one. Yeah. But I want to make like just a little story, a little visual thing.
Oh, that's awesome. I like
to an instrumental track, me just talking about like life and shit. I want to do a video where I never face the camera at all to a Tame Impala track. That's just my own little projects. Otherwise, we are, shit, what am I doing? Jumping in with like all the boys of the choreography scene, so to speak. Maybe there's some exceptions. I hope there isn't, because that's really awkward. But anybody that was available that we thought of, we're just trying to get them all to do just like a stacked, like this versus everybody, this verse, this verse, this verse, of just like all the mandem out in the streets, just doing that.
That's awesome. That's cool, man.
I thought of 2 pieces I want to do with a team of people in isolation, that sort of speak on isolation and lockdown and social distancing and stuff. A lot, and that's just the dance element.
Dang, you got a lot on your mind.
Definitely trying to get this like facilitation thing where people come to me with ideas and I tell them how they do it, or even like draft videos for them so that they can give it to a videographer.
Consultant.
A consultant, you got it, a consultant, a creative consultancy.
Does anyone ever do that?
I don't know, but they should.
Literally just like...
We see some crazy stuff out of it. I was speaking to Sean Laxina, right, from Vibe Squad. I'm gonna host...
Sean's the homie who called us up.
Oh, right. He called me the other day too.
Yeah.
He must be bored.
Yeah.
London is still in lockdown, man.
Oh,
London is still in lockdown. For those of you at home, Sean Laxina, OG in my head. He taught me a lot of actual honest to God foundation in life and hip hop. Yeah, he's a bit older than me. He's about 30 and
28, I think.
something like that. Sorry.
He started late.
Yeah, but he got it right.
Super passionate, man.
Super passionate, very, very good historian. He told me a lot of the come up of the choreographers in the world and stuff. We literally just talked about this today. If you remember, I did that R&B battle.
Yeah.
I want to do another version of that, a bit more organized, a bit more mature.
Oh yeah,
that was
that
was sick.
That was sick. That was sick.
That was the most entertaining.
And it nearly flopped, and it didn't.
that was
but
fun.
it was fun, and we're gonna do it better.
Yeah,
do
that's
it better.
always good.
That brought that bridged the gap.
Yeah,
That was an event that
stuff like that. Yeah, because I think what puts off the choreography dances from battles is just the tracks.
True.
We're like.
True, man.
I don't know battle music. Ew. Like, what's a breakbeat? I don't like it. Like, we get a bit stuck. We're like, oh, please sing on it. Like, please bring Georgia Smith onto this breakbeat or something. You know, like.
Man, I don't really care that much about the music.
Music moves you.
Yeah, it moves.
Leave it there.
It moves you for sure. But like when it's going into a battle, for sure, yeah, doing that. But you also need the battle presence.
Yeah.
I think.
And that's where.
Do you think
choreographers can come in and learn the battle presence from the people that are true to it?
True.
And then you guys can be inspired. I know when we were living together, you were pulling out things from me that I was doing just of choreography dancing. We just share ideas and stuff like that. So if we can host another event like that, that would be great. And I want to be doing with my team, with Suburban. I want to carry on this sort of energy we've been on a Sunday in another person's program. Yeah. It's called More Than Movements, and I'm not going to talk about it. You should just look it up. But really about nurturing maturity and artistry, less about necessarily choreography or freestyling or looking good, and more about like the process and the thought, and a lot of journaling, a lot of questions, a lot of understanding, a lot of conversation. So, because I think there's a really good amount of like technique and foundation classes, and there's jams happening each week, and I'm sure once we sort of tick back into regularity, there'll be events, and there's definitely a lot of choreography going around, whether that's a project or a class or an event, a workshop. So I think what, and it's always been on my mind, and it's what I do with my close friends, is just to get them like thinking,
talking about life,
maturely, talking about life and how life hits you dancing different. Literally, yeah. So having these sessions and led by different people each week, it could be, and we could also just do, honestly, like a mystery teacher where people expect, you know, if the choreography dancers are expecting like somebody like me to be teaching and sort of them to be familiar, and then all of a sudden it's you guys.
Yeah.
And you know, they've paid for the session, and hopefully they're not like shy or rude and just leave. Right. But they'll be there and they'll get to learn from you guys. So yeah, I want to give a safe space for like maturity and open-mindedness, and share that platform amongst other people that want it or talk about it or deserve it as well. Because I think there's so many people that have so much to share. From me going to them, from me finding you guys, from me speaking to someone like Ahang and Sean and stuff, like you hear some great things from these people.
Awesome.
And it's like, let's give that to everybody. So there's a lot going on, and I'm excited to do it all. Oh, and I'm doing like in representation of, and I don't know why I'm asked, because I'm not really of that culture. Like I said, I'm a guest. I'm doing like a workshop speaking on like the Black Lives Matter and the hip hop relationship through dancing, obviously, because that's my platform. Sadly, it's for teens, but the night before there's like a big talk night. It's at the Dance Collective. So the night before there's like Pepito and Lisa and Cheeto, and the dancehall guy, Deco. I don't know how to say his name that good just yet, but it's like a whole talk night, a bunch of lectures, a bunch of workshops. That's open to the public, and then the next day, it's like a juniors and a teens thing, but I'll be talking on that. So I've got to prepare for that, got to get my dates right, you know what I mean? Got to get my names. Yeah. You know, I've got to say Cool Herc a bunch of times. No. Got to say Crazy Legs a bunch. Yeah.
There's a lot of dudes that, yeah.
There's a lot.
That were involved in that. Let's get it going.
Yeah. It wasn't just one person.
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
Trust me, Rocksteady crew. Who knows more than Crazy Legs?
You know, I wanted to ask, man, who's in the Suburban? Give us a shout out, man.
Okay, the shout out. The Suburban Dance Crew.
Tell us about your friends, man. Who are your friends, bro?
Oh man, our friends, my friends. We're honestly just a bunch of goofy people.
Drop the names.
When you get through, I think, the polish. But there's myself. For those of you who have never met me, my name is Logan. I don't know what that was. We've got Carden Farnham. He's on the t-shirt. He's the man. He's got a lot of energy, a lot of passion to do things right. I think he very much respects like order and information and respect. He's the nicest guy. We've got Hannah, she's Polish, Maciejewski. I think I said that right. I get it wrong every time.
Is that Carden's girlfriend?
Yeah,
okay.
They're together.
Cool.
They're intimate. That's an inside joke, which is useless now. She's got a jazz and a contemporary and a techno background, but she's so open-minded to learn and share and crossfire. She's a full-time admin at a dance studio, so she's just killing it. She knows a lot about the business side of things. Intuitively, maybe now, a very handy person to have around. Very, very good at customer service, which is very good for me because I don't speak good often. I speak very like direct, which doesn't please a lot of people. But she's now our little wordsmith, our little poet, so to speak. We've got Matthew Holiday. He's a DJ Holiday, DJ Vacation.
B-Boy.
Holiday Time, B-Boy, and he's now trying to also like share that with choreographer.
Awesome.
Yep. That was part of his piece for our showcase.
He does a lot of breaking in his choreo. Nice.
He still does. It's really
nice. You guys
nice.
blend it too.
We blend it. We try to cross it over.
In the graph spot.
Yeah. He's real cool. He's an urban planner or in study. So learning how to make your neighborhoods fresh. That's his role eventually. We've got Money. She's brilliant cook. Used to train popping, now just sort of lives in our nebulous choreography world as well, but it's very influenced. Her isolation and her manipulation of stuff is phenomenal. And we've got Daps, we've got Marianne. She's an accountant. She's really diving deep into foundation. I see her more at jams these days than choreography
She's been at YMCA
sessions.
every week.
Yep, respect to that. She also values what's right. We've got this like ongoing joke. I don't know where it came from, but like
I know where it came from.
the big horse energy. Yeah, like somebody that's just really big. Whether that's like they've either worked out and they're just buff, or they got a big presence. So we throw that around a lot. We got like a lot of spiraling jokes about like this big horse energy, or like there's a big horse over there, look at that big horse move, or like we got the horse force, you know, you got to channel the force. We got so many jokes. It's hilarious every single day.
You sound like you got a good bunch of
Yeah, and 4 of us live together. The only ones that don't currently live in the same house is Money and Daps, but they're always over while we're sharing. On our agenda as a team, we also just want to get randomly creative. We want to spend a day taking photos. You know, even though, like, give me a DSLR, I'll accidentally take a selfie. You know, like I'm not that savvy with a camera. We want to have painting days. Like, we're all interested in a lot of side creative stuff, and we're just going to try and figure that out as well. But really great people, really open for anything. They blindly follow me, and I don't know why. I don't think they should. We get into trouble, but we have a lot of fun. So they're good people. They're my people for now, for a good time coming. Yeah.
And what about in London? Who are you getting down with?
Ooh, in London?
We didn't talk about that. Like,
oh man!
We didn't talk about anything that you did.
It was just under a year. Oh look.
What went down in London?
What went down in London? Yeah? Oh, I found myself.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, a lot. Highlights. The first thing I did, I got into. Well, I applied, I just registered for it. There's a guy called Dylan Merrill who's a very phenomenal choreographer and battler. Like, I equivalent them. He's got so much foundation training and so much creativity in his movement. But he ran a camp, like a training camp. He got a lot of, I think majority was UK-based teachers and facilitators. So he mixed technique in the morning, whether that was like a street foundation style or a technical style. So some days we do a double session of ballet, some days we do Afro and popping, another day we do house and jazz. So each morning the first 2 classes were training, where moves come from. And then in the afternoon it was choreographers. And even then those choreographers might do like a tasking exercise where you sort of understand stuff better. He hosted a battle as well, and that whole week was just full of magical people. I spent a lot of time in that week hanging out with all the dancers from Israel because they just have such good energy. Israel, man, Israel is fire, man. They're crazy there. Yeah? Ooh, yeah. They're just. I got to go there in December, but that's later down the highlight reel. We'll get there too.
Oh no.
Yeah. But after that, it was like understanding all the teachers at all the studios. So I spent like hours and hours and hours in my hostel looking at Instagram, looking at like who's this teacher, what do they do, like the study side of it, which is really, really, really fun to just understand.
Yeah.
Who's where, who interacts. Who does what well, who's lying about what they do, you know, hip hop. Man, some choreographers don't do hip hop. Oh, I don't want to go there. But yeah, that was like the next lot of months, and I was figuring out like how to get. I learned how to get a phone number. Yeah, finally. No, there was like an order of operation. Like, to get a residency, you needed a phone number, but to get a phone number you needed a bank account, but so on and so on. I found a really nice bank that just let me do it off citizenship because I got the passport and everything. So I didn't need a place to be to get a bank account, which meant I could get a phone number, which meant I could get, you know, a housing. Moved into that, sort of just jumped around jobs a little bit. I worked some.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
Worked some bad places. Some of the hospitality industry is nuts. Like, you get like contracts Like contracts, not just like, yeah, like you're part-time, sign here. It's like read like 10 pages of stuff. Like it's deep. It's like, yeah, it was stressful, job searching. I was doing like teaching assistant. I was helping out primary schools, helping kids with slow learning or extra needs and stuff like that. That was great, but really inconsistent. So I wasn't really paying my bills. And yeah, I was just taking classes then around the place. There's a guy called David Cottle, and he kind of helped me get my first teaching slot. And he's a phenomenal popping dancer, hip-hop dancer, and choreographer. And he let me cover. Because I turned up to his classes all the time, and I was like, hey man, like, thank you for class, and let me get the footage if you got it. And by the way, like, oh, if you're down, like, and if you let me teach. And he was like, cool, I'm going to New York next Wednesday. Do you want to teach next Wednesday? I was like, what? Yeah, cool. And I don't know if you'll ever see this, but like honestly, that paycheck he gave me from covering his class, I got about 80 pounds maybe, which is about $150, and that made the difference between me paying rent that month and like not paying rent that month. So like that was a turning point. That was in like November. That was after my birthday. And I was super stressed because I wasn't earning anything and I couldn't find work. And if I did find work, it would clash with like dancing and auditions and projects, and it was really, really stressful. There were so many nights at my desk or on my phone to mom or dad, or even like money or card in, like I was just like crying my eyes out because I was so stressed, man. Like just stressed, like not that it just wasn't going ideally, so to speak. And because I don't want to work full time. But then I found a job at the British Museum at the restaurant at the top, which was really sweet, consistent. They nearly fired me because I was always tired from training, but that's okay. So yeah, I got that settled. Once the money was settled, things started to sort of fall in line. In my first couple months, I think we showed it at the end of November. No, the start of November, because it was right after Take Flight, which is Halloween. So I went to Ireland, did a crazy set of workshops there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where I lost my accommodation and had to gate crash in people's hotel rooms. It's just a whirlwind. Met some great people there that I didn't even realize were from London. So everywhere I went, I just kept finding new people from London and just sort of building like a little connection base. But I did a contemporary showing with. She's actually born in Queensland, lived in Sydney, and was then in London. Her name's Alice Robinson, and she really likes horror movies.
Yeah.
So we did we did an installation. I can't call it anything other than an installation. It was choreography and tasking and acting for an hour straight. And we were in a 2-story venue, all doors and pathways going around the place, and there was like maybe 10 of us, and we all had individual pathways throughout the entire thing, like a scripted. Think like an NPC in a game. Like you'll see them standing in front of the shop front for 10 minutes, and then they'll wander up to the top of the village type of thing. So we'd go all the way through this whole building on like hectic orchestral like horror movie screechy music, and like it was nuts, and it was great because we did 2 shows, and I wish we did like 25 shows, but running through the space and all this contemporary movement and acting, and we could get right up to people's faces, and we were grabbing them and running them out the room. Apparently somebody like got left outside just like looking at the stars with one of our dancers, like all this crazy shit. I don't even know what happened in the show because I didn't get to follow somebody else that was doing their thing. Like I knew my path and who I interacted with, and then who was in the crowd for me to work with. And holy shit, it was such an experience. And
that sounds cool.
we were working on that every Sunday for like two months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spent like 4 or 6 hours every Sunday working on it, piecing it together, and like amazing job to Alice. Like I can't comprehend that level of like pre-planning and premeditating and trust that everything just sort of worked and co-aligned into like the vision, and it got really well received, and it was crazy and amazing. Yeah, that was just up till November. So from August till November, that was what happened. Dylan's thing, Take Flight in Ireland, run by Kerry Milne, and yeah, that showing, and amongst that, all the chaos of like life and jobs and stuff. I was living in this really cool town, really far out. Like honestly, if I didn't get the express train, it would take me like a good hour from the city. and these are like long stops in between stations. But the funny thing is that the town, like the main road, the town center out there, felt exactly like Perth.
Oh yeah, does it?
Of like the population and the amount of people and just like the vibe. I was like, oh, I'm in London, I'm still in Perth. So it was a bit trippy to see that. But yeah.
Man, if that's just like an outskirt city or something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
definitely
it
got
was.
that vibe about Perth as well. Eh?
Yeah?
Perth just feels like an
Outskirts city. Yeah. But there's some magic happening here. I think in the middle of this, in like maybe September, a dancer, a creator called Glenn Hudson, he runs a team called Definitives. They're a bit unique in team sense in that they'll do their comps, but in between they'll just, he will make you just find yourself. Like training sessions were often like, okay, your freestyle task is to be rigid.
Yeah.
And he'll just look at us.
Is that rigid?
No, he wouldn't even say anything. He would just wait. And we'll be trying it for like a good 5 minutes, a couple different tracks. And we'll all be looking at each other like, yeah, we got this. And then he would just be like, nope, next exercise. And you'll be like, what the fuck? Like, help me. Like, he won't even, because he's about you thinking for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of his methodology, he's a very practical trainer, a very methodical mover. So his exercises would be really functional, like a lot of the training that you'd be doing. It's not just like, let's just do push-ups. It's like, let's actively do things that would come up in dancing.
Yep.
So that when you get into that environment, whether you freestyle yourself into a corner or whether a choreographer is just insane and makes you do like push-up jumps, like you can do it because you've trained it.
Yeah.
And because you can do a push-up jump, that means you can dance stronger. So that's his whole motive. He really gave me insight on not being like a spoon feeder, not being a babysitter when you're teaching people, so that they figure it out for themselves and they learn it stronger. They learn it more proper.
Because once they understand,
Yeah,
that's how you learn.
that teach a man how to fish kind of quote,
Yeah.
you know? Through that, they're a really supportive network as well, because when I was getting in communication to travel to Israel to teach,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, what do I quote? What do I do? Like, help me guys.
Teaching in Israel.
I taught 6 classes over 3 days, and did a showcase and a panel, a Q&A interview as well.
Whoa. That's busy.
And just hung out and jammed with the locals because I was like, let's go. Like, I'm never in Israel. I've never been
What's
here before.
Israel like?
Oh my God. It's like, it feels like the beach of the Gold Coast
Yeah.
is like right next to Sydney. Like right next to Sydney, but then Sydney's the size of like London. Like it's just this whole mashup of confusion.
Say that again?
It's nuts. It's like a beach and then like a little bit of life and then just like a city.
Right.
And it's nuts. And the weather was everywhere. Apparently it's meant to be like summer sunny at that time and it was just like raining
it
down
hot there?
thunderstorms. Yeah, humid. And I didn't see much of actual Tel Aviv, the city itself, but I spent a day in Jerusalem. Yeah, and I got to the Western Wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Where they pray at that wall.
Yes. Oh,
What's that feel like?
powerful place.
Powerful?
Yeah. It felt harder to walk through the space the closer I got. Just of the aura, the energy of, because there's rabbis and like a whole following of people around them like fervently praying.
Yeah.
Crazy place.
Give you shivers, man.
Yeah, I never felt that moved by just a location. And I was with some people that lived around that area. So I was almost getting like a personal tour guide through the markets and the side roads and then all the history leading up to what that wall meant to the people of Israel, of Jerusalem. And also in context of like the Arabic people on the other side of the wall. Yeah. So really great day. Like that is like locked in my memory, written down, locked in my head until I forget it. Like it's so special. And thank you to those girls that took me around that day. But like Definitives helped me get there and helped me not like lose money. It's hard to quote, you know, it's again that imposter syndrome. You don't want to be like, yeah, give me $500 for 30 minutes. Like it's a bit tricky. Like, and also it's their business. You don't want to bleed someone out. Even if you do give a reasonable quote, you might accidentally like cut their profits so hard. And but we all sorted it out, and I ended up at the end of it just like saying like, no, round it down because I had such a great time. And I really honestly did. They looked after me, they picked me up, they fed me, they gave me all this good stuff. They let me take the other classes. They let me speak my mind on the panel. Like, it was really, really, really cool. And I think I was one of the youngest teachers there. I think there was a 21-year-old who was at Bat Shiva, which is like an insane contemporary company out of Israel. But the rest were older. And yeah, just really, such a beautiful place. The dancers there are so eager and so open to whoever comes their way. Very welcoming. I felt like family. And it was the first time since I left Australia that I felt like I had a family around at that time. And I forgot that feeling, and when I got it back, I went, no, when I go home to London on New Year's, like I'm finding who I can spend my nights with, I'm finding who I can spend my days with, I'm finding who I can take a break off class with, and I really did. I was spending time with, I just found some really pleasant people in classes that I kept going to. So I guess like, wherever you are, you attract those people. And if you stop and look around and go, oh, they look at, okay, hi. Like, you sort of find that and just say yes to the opportunities to just hang out, to just talk. Or you go up and say something nice to somebody. Like, hey, I like your dance. And go, hey, like, your shirt's really cool. Or like, hey, you got a pretty smile, or whatever. You just say that sort of stuff. And obviously when you mean it, people feel it and they look at you a bit different, and then next week they'll say something back, and then the week after you'll have a friend. And then they'll take you to their friends, and then all of a sudden you're at a pub at 2 p.m. on a Sunday on a boat, and you're just like 4 beers deep with a bunch of people that you can now call your friends. And you're just playing drinking games, just chatting about life. You find out this guy likes that, this guy likes that, she likes this, she does that, and you just like lock in a bit better. And that was what was happening January, February, March. And then I got sent home. No, I didn't get sent home, but I chose to come home out of safety. I chose to come home out of health and finance and mental health, because I was not living with the best people. You know, just people that just aren't on your page.
Yeah. I get you.
I'm sure they're very lovely people. I just didn't really.
Are you going back to London?
I'm torn. There's an itch in me. It's been there since I started dancing, to be on stage.
Yeah.
To be like.
I know you tell me.
Limelight of the celebrity. Like, the celebrity's there and I'm there behind them. Like, what's good? Like, I'm the backup of that. Or I'm putting out a piece of work, say like Alice did or something. Like, that is still burning in me.
Is London the best place for that?
London's one of the best. It's got the West End, which is equivalent to Broadway, and it's got so much industry and so much. Think of all the great musicians and artists and bands, even currently, that come out of the UK. You've got like Rita Ora, you've got like even Gorillaz are still making music out there. Like, you've got Octavian, you've got like Skepta, you've got like, I was meeting the dancers that made their way up out of nowhere, no agent, no help. They just like banged out Skepta's tracks, and Skepta was like, yeah, and he brought them on stage. Simple. They didn't sign anything, they didn't compromise, they did it their way, and they did it. They probably got what they wanted, they probably got their bag, they probably got paid good. Hey, I don't know. We Ain't Regular, War, check them out. They are like fire. They're the epitome of like the road, which is like the people on the street. Or, I don't know, I wouldn't say like gang style, but just the people that spend a lot of time out with each other on the street, just feeling that energy. There's a different way they carry and that they interact with the world. But they got up there next to Skepta. So like, there's a lot of work. You can either find your way to get to yourself. And there's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of talent scouts, there's a lot of musical opportunities, there's a lot of musical theater opportunities. You can be a teacher, you can teach 4 or 5 times a week at any different studio. Just in terms of, it's a graph, right? So, but if the ceiling is 1 million instead of 100, like, there's just more opportunity around the sides of that graph. Like, when we say the Perth dance community and the Perth creative and the Perth art community, it's small and connected, but then the opportunity and necessarily the funding is limited. So if I'm trying to get out there and exclusively make my bag on creating, I'm going back to London. Unless I somehow figure out this way to make, I'm loving what I'm doing at the moment with my people and my community, but it's all for free.
Yeah.
If I could make that make money, man, I'd stay here. It's so pleasant here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful here. It doesn't have as fancy museums as London, but it's beautiful. Like the weather's great, the scenery's great, the people are friendlier. Like overall, it's just warmer.
Yeah.
And the community, I feel, I mean, I've known them for a really long time, and I've built myself up to be known in this community here across the board, and so that is something that's also warm as well. And I think I was getting there, I mean, I was only there maybe 8 months, like I wasn't even there a year yet. So in terms of familiarity and friendship and warmth and stuff like that, it wasn't there. But like I just got signed, I auditioned and signed into an agency called Take 3, and they specialize in the step between extras on film sets and like actors and sub-actors sort of things. Mm-hmm. So like, not necessarily a stunt performer, but we have those side skills of like riding or flipping or martial arts. So instead of just like, honestly, the average human being that walks onto a set and just kind of has no clue what they're doing, and the director says, walk that way, and they go, nope, and just fucks the shot up. We're the step above that in terms of cognitive ability, understanding of sets and direction and like workflow. And but yeah, it was really exciting. He did a lot of martial arts, the guy that runs at Tyler, martial arts workshops and acrobatic workshops and skills. And I just got signed on to them, and I was really excited to be working with them. And they already had booked me a job. I'm not gonna say it on camera because they will not be happy, but we could say, but I was gonna be in a Netflix show.
Ooh! Whoa.
In some way, or another.
So you got signed in London?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And I was about to, I've done it here since I got sent back here, but I've done my flipping highlight reel, I compiled all my creative footage. So I've got really strong references to send, and I was going to apply for a bunch of other agents and stuff like that. At the same time, I was doing my own work in terms of finding teaching. I got a slot at base, and I got a slot at what's now known as the Hub. I was teaching there, trying to build up my teaching profile. Which is good to sort of just like tick your rent box. If you get enough people, it can be like, yep, I made my rent for the week and I ate a sandwich, so I'm good. But I guess we want to think of the future. We want to make money for the future, or for investments. Like if I wanted to buy a DSLR, if I wanted to buy a proper like music development software instead of just skimping on the trial versions all the time, you'd need more than your rent to get capital. So that's where these shows and gigs and tours, and if you get into a contract on West End, or if you
it's a tough thing to
do stuff like that, it's unpredictable, which is where a lot of people fall back onto teaching. But also a lot of people have the love for teaching. Like I don't want to discredit that at all, and I definitely love teaching. Like there's an energy, I feel very like safe and confident when I get to teach people.
You get proud of the growth with your students, you know?
Yeah.
It's like my students here, man. Like makes me so happy to see them progress, and like you have fun with them, man.
Exactly. I'll have another one.
So it sounded like you were just about to get things started.
I was just about to get the money started. I was making friends and connections, and I really never want to discredit that, because they made it so tolerable to live in, and they showed me all these cool spots like the Brixton markets, the vegan food there. Shout out to Mara. Like people in London turned me vegetarian, you know what I mean? Like just of their...
Is that really?
Yeah. I kind of phased out like a lot of meat eating anyway, but there was just a lot of positivity and acceptance around it, instead of just being like, you should be vegetarian, it's healthier, it's better. Like it wasn't that like strong-armed. It was a bit more like, we're going to this place and they just don't sell meat. So I'd be like, oh, okay, and I'll eat it, and it's like the best meal I've had. You know?
So what do you eat, bro?
Like, oh man, like...
It's so easy to be vegetarian.
Oh, so easy. Like the chickpea and black bean curries.
Oh yeah?
And they'll have like different flavor for each of them on like, so much. And the Caribbean cuisine that comes in, because there's a lot of that African influence in London. And like obviously the islander, you know, where they come from. Like the jackfruit that comes in, and like the jerk flavored stuff, and like they have like fried banana chips that are delicious, like even the snacks and stuff that come up.
Sounds tasty.
No way, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Nice, man.
I could live off sweet potato exclusively, I swear. Like, yeah, dice it up, put it in a salad.
Now you make me hungry, man.
Yeah. Nah, I've been happily vegetarian. I mean,
Still veggie.
I hit a craving moment every now and then, and I just kind of allow it. So
Yeah.
Something heavy.
I hope I don't offend any more strict vegetarians off that. But
For what?
hey, I had fish and chips yesterday. They'll be like, save the fish, free the fish.
Eat how you want.
Yeah, bro, live your life, man.
Yeah. No, I really did feel a nice, good momentum and a lot of comfort. And there was a moment, a friend of mine looked at me and said, like, you feel different, you feel settled, you feel calm. And I went, yeah.
Vegetarian?
Yeah, maybe. I actually said that back. I was like, it's because I've been vegetarian, right? She was like, yeah.
That sweet potato settles in my stomach better these days.
Yeah, so I'm just calmer. No, honestly though, I do feel better, feel lighter, feel good. Yeah, been on some documentaries to learn about it and stuff like that, just hearing that sort of things. Documentaries are there to sort of prove one single point, nothing else, but
True.
it's good for research to start, same as the hip-hop ones that you can find. Get Down, Hip Hop Evolution, a lot of stuff, a lot of movies, Breaking 2, even graffiti movies, if you've seen any of them. Have you seen like Wild Style?
No, I haven't.
Damn, I haven't yet either, so I can't talk, but plenty of references, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So,
But
back in Peace City.
back in Peace City, making things happen, which feels real good, and being like surrounded by lovely, lovely people doing great things. You guys included in that. Like,
Thanks, bro.
Like the more that we all choose to do, the better, and we just hold each other accountable, and we all just be proud of each other and the shit we make happen, because
That's sick.
the meaning is what we make, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's make this community.
Absolutely. Well,
Strong.
I have one more question for you. If for the next podcast, who would you want to see next?
Well, we mentioned Una earlier. I really would like to see how she comes with you guys, but if I would give another one,
Please do.
somebody. Who have you had so far? You've had
Ahang, Scully. who's a
Scully,
grandpa.
yeah.
That's,
You had
And you.
Yummy Marco.
No.
no, we haven't had. We got Journey.
I just saw him on the stories then or something. I feel like I saw a b-boy talking.
Teju.
Teju.
We got Journey.
Journey.
We got Journey coming next. But yeah, we want to also step out of the breaking
Represent
realm. We want to join everyone together. So this is what this is for as well.
That's true.
Represent the different styles,
So like
represent
when we asked
choreographers.
Crumper, he wanted to see another Crumper, which is great because we want to hear their insight as well.
Yeah.
About crumping, but like anyone as well.
Who's different, different to us. That's what we're trying to say.
I'm also trying to think of who's like articulate as well.
It
Because
doesn't even have to be a dancer, to be honest.
ooh. Oh, that's one I'd have to think about and message you guys. But
Okay.
just dancers.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Send us a message. But
I
we're a
will.
dancer right now.
Off the top, as a dancer, I would want to see
Pressure on them to come.
maybe even like a contemporary dancer. Can I please message you this? I've got like images in my head and their names are flying away from me, but
No, we can't end this until you.
oh,
There's something up with the.
The battery is
Oh,
going.
battery line.
we're gonna end it. So
Logan.
I gotta give a name. A contemporary dancer. This is tricky. But hey, why not get Saf on here as well? Saf, she's got a lot of she falls under that umbrella of contemporary, but she's got a lot of different styles of travels under her belt. She's good to talk to once
Sick.
you ask her the right things, She's good to talk
There you
to.
go.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Safia Carolina.
Yeah, man. We just put the.
Actually,
I don't think I said anything incriminating.
nah, man.
I don't think I do anything incriminating either, so
Yo, man. Yeah. Cheers, bro. Cheers.
give me that pineapple cheers.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, thanks guys though, if that's the last of the questions.
No worries, man.
appreciate
Thank you
that.
for coming, man. It was beautiful to have
Been
you
a nice
here.
interview,
you, bro.
nice little podcast thing.
Oh,
Good to see you guys doing stuff.
yeah.
Stuff is cool.
Shit, yeah. Stuff is fucking
Stuff is cool.
man.
Stuff is cool.
Just doing shit.
How do we end this?